Hello and welcome to another episode of Style Arcade's podcast. This is definitely one for you if you love your skincare and want to find out more about products, about living well. We have got two fantastic experts with us. I am so glad to have you here. We've got longevity specialist, Dr. Lubna. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And we've also got Calum, and you are from Kiehls. You are a skincare education executive. So hello.
Hi, thanks for having me, Michelle. It's great to be here.
And it is a really great place because we get the chance to talk, we get the chance to actually visit Kiehls a little bit later on. And this is somewhere that is kind of home to both of you, right? And Yorkshire has been a big part of your life. Calum, tell me, you were actually here in Victoria Gate, is that right, when it was first opening?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm a northerner. My husband is a Leeds boy, and I actually worked in a retail shop here in the Victoria Quarter. And actually, before the Victoria Gate opened to the public and was finished, a few of us were selected. We were really lucky to come in and have a walk around this brand new centre. We had our hard hats on, our high vis. It was still really secure with the health and safety, and the building hadn't finished. So actually coming back to Leeds now, because I currently live in London, but actually coming back and seeing this full circle moment and actually spending time together in Victoria Gate now it's finished and fully fledged. It's great. I'm back home and it's wonderful.
Well, we are glad to have you back,
Thank
but
you
no
for
hard
having me.
hat today.
No.
Yeah, no, we'll keep the hair in place today.
And Dr. Lubna, you know, you have a residency at Grantley Hall. Indeed. You've also founded This Is Yorkshire Beauty. I mean, that's fantastic to have those two under your belt. What was it like for you coming to Yorkshire? Because you were from London, right?
Yeah, I moved up in 2016, but Yorkshire is our home now, and I've got two little girls who are Yorkshire born and bred with a Yorkshire accent. So yeah, we've really found a home here, and I really sort of like have loved moving up, establishing This Is Yorkshire Beauty. So I moved up because I was training in plastic surgery, was working in Hull to begin with, and then I left the NHS in 2020 and now have a residency at Grantley Hall, a clinic in Leeds, and then have established This Is Yorkshire Beauty, so a go-to platform for health and beauty in Yorkshire.
Well, we are making sure you don't run back to London when Calum leaves us, but we like to start our podcast with some icebreaker questions, all right?
Here we
So
go.
we find out a little bit about you and you can open up with us. Now, I've got questions 1, 2, 3 and 4. I am going to go ladies first. So, Dr. Lubna, would you like to choose one of our questions?
Go for number 2.
She's gone for number 2. So what is the question that you've got?
Ooh, morning person or night routine perfectionist, where do you fall? So being a mum of 2 little girls, nighttime goes out the window. But I am a morning person, and I really sort of love trying to establish like a really nice morning routine. So getting out in the morning first thing, getting some sunlight into the eyes really helps with sleep, which I've been struggling with perimenopause. And yeah, just getting sort of like that morning routine, sort of like being outside, some fresh air, and and doing my skincare routine with sun protection, ready for the day.
I love that answer. Fabulous. All right. So we have got 3 more left. What are you going to go for, Calum?
Well, I have 3 dogs, so let's do number 3. Always draws me. What does feeling your best look like for you right now? Oh, that is a good question. So feeling your best, I think feeling your best comes with a little bit of self-care and self-love and understanding that we're all unique in our own way and that there's only one Calum, there's only one Dr. Lubna, only one Michelle. I actually think feeling your best is accepting not just what we love about ourselves, but also our flaws and being able to leave the house confidently. And that's how I feel my best, knowing that there is only one me, there's only one big quip, you know, there's only one Calum. So accepting who we are as a person and being confident from inside out is how I feel my best.
That is great. And we are special in our own way. And it's interesting you said about self-care and self-love there, because there is a bit of a difference, isn't there? And I think we get kind of confused about that.
Yeah. Self-love, I think, is sort of understanding who we are and loving our personality, loving our flaws, taking time to accept ourselves. mentally and physically. And self-care is maybe a gentle act, something that we do that helps us slow down, helps us lower our nervous system. And that could be your skincare. You know, taking a cream from Kiehls and taking a moment in the bathroom as a busy mum, and whether that be the morning routine of putting on your SPF, that's a gentle act of self-care, where self-love could be that acceptance of ourself.
Let's move on to why I definitely got you here, because as I say, you are experts in your field and we hear a lot about skin health now, don't we? I mean, that is a big hot topic. Is that what you see when people come in to see you, Lubna?
Yes, I think skin health is like the main focus for a lot of people. I think we're sort of like no longer in the era where people really want to just fill and freeze their faces. I think it is bringing it back to good skin health and realising that actually when you feel good, you look good, and skin health is a big part of that.
And you at Kiehls must have known this for a long time. You're like, how did it take them so many years to catch on to this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kiehl started in 1851, actually originally as a pharmacy. So going from sort of medical pharmaceuticals now up to skincare you can just purchase from a boutique. I think we've always stood with skin health being the forefront of our consultations. And whether that be a conversation that can be quite short about hydration or skin barrier or SPF protection, it's definitely been a conversation we've had for a very long time at Kiehls.
Mm-hmm. And we hear a lot of like buzzwords that are introduced to skin health, and you wonder as a person, as a consumer, do we buy into those buzzwords? Is it worth it? I mean, collagen is on everybody's lips right now, or in everybody's cupboards. What are your thoughts on collagen?
I think things will rise and fall like any trend, and collagen is going to be huge this year. And actually, when it comes to the world of skincare, collagen is part of that self-care we've spoke about. If you enjoy doing your skincare routine, then I would say if you're enjoying it, continue doing it. But actually, collagen for me really is the buzzword and the hype, but it may be understanding the peptides that go alongside it. And that's sort of the key. Collagen has to come alongside with peptides. So if we think about some iconic British women, you wouldn't get Eddie without Patsy. So you shouldn't be using a collagen without a peptide, is what I would say.
I love that absolutely fabulous analogy. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you agree then kind of with the peptides? I mean, I'm thinking as well, not just kind of the creams. I'm thinking about, you know, the powders that we put into, you know, the hot drinks or the water. Is that really going to have an effect?
It's so difficult with collagen because the jury has been out for a very long time. And the thing that we struggle with in the beauty industry compared to traditional medicine, like where I've come from, is that rigorous evidence. And the trouble with the beauty industry when you are looking at supplements is that a lot of the evidence that we have to date, they're very small studies. And there's no coherence. So one study might be looking at younger women. Another study might be looking at older women. So it's really hard to generalise as to who collagen supplementation is good for, at what sort of like strength and how often. The most recent meta-analysis of about 118 studies does show that possibly there is some benefit to joints and potentially to skin. But at the moment, we're still lacking some really strong evidence to show that collagen supplements are beneficial to your skin in particular. So I always say to my clients, because I get asked this question all the time, so I've looked at all the studies that are out there. If your budget can afford it, and you find that because a lot of the anecdotal evidence from people is that it's really, you know, beneficial and they're enjoying it and they can see the glow in their skin and benefit to their skin, hair and nails. If you find that there's benefits, then continue. But if your budget is tight, then there are so many other things that are much better at protecting your collagen. When you understand collagen is the building blocks of our skin, so it's the essential protein. And when you look at my little daughter who's 4, beautiful plump skin, and so she's got rich collagen. When we reach our sort of like 30s and 40s and onwards, we lose about 1% to 2% every year. When we hit our perimenopause, and for women in particular, that's when we start to lose about 30 to 40%. So it's a significant drop. So that's why we start to see lines and wrinkles more. So collagen is essential, but there's other ways of protecting your collagen. So back to sun protection, because that will prevent collagen from being broken down. Your diet, so having a protein-rich diet is really important because obviously that's the building blocks that supplies your skin with collagen, and also just your lifestyle factors as well. Stress breaks your collagen down, lack of sleep breaks your collagen down, not exercising. So there's so many things that we can do as an alternative. So you don't necessarily have to throw your money at expensive supplements in order to protect your collagen. And at the moment, like I said, we just don't have really strong, rigorous evidence to show its effectiveness, although there is some positive signs from some studies.
That's interesting to hear that because, as I say, it's bandied about so much. You really don't know where to go. And you said them 30 to 40%. I mean, I'm in that category, and it is quite worrying to lose that much collagen.
This is when women come to me and like you get the classic, you know, something doesn't feel right. It's like a big, significant drop in your 30s, 40s,
And are you finding as well yourself, Calum, women are chasing that youth, aren't we? You know, we're in that era, and I think as well, a lot of the time in the media and social media, it's having that effect. Do they come in to Kiehls and go, almost like, I just want a quick fix, but it's not really a quick fix, is it?
Yeah, I think we're seeing such a rise in the availability of education with social media especially. So for our younger female audience, they may come in from TikTok or Instagram, and then they'll be feeding that into their mums, their aunties, their grandmothers. So we're getting a lot of people with then information given from somebody online that might not be fully trained. It's then passed on like Chinese whispers. So by the time it gets to mum who comes to the store to see me or the team, it's almost a little bit incorrect. So we have to be sure that we can lead with education, and that quick fix actually often doesn't work because it isn't backed by the education of sort of skin physiology. And again, we'll probably repeat quite a lot today, the importance of SPF. So if we're thinking about trending ingredients like collagen serums, like vitamin C's, maybe retinol, which is vitamin A, they actually really struggle to work. So I'm seeing a huge influx of women come to Kiehls saying, oh, I'm using retinol, it's not working. That retinol may be working, but what you're not doing is protecting your skin correctly with SPF to give that vitamin a chance of optimalistically working within the skin to its full potential, because the education of SPF is missing. So again, that hand in hand, that Eddie and Patsy, they need to go together to work.
It's scary, some misinformation that is going around, isn't it? You know, and clients that you see, I mean, you've got a 96-year-old client, haven't you? And that, you know, the importance of her retaining the longevity is great. But I imagine she's learning new things.
Absolutely. What I love about using my client as examples, so she's 96 and she's in excellent health. And she just shows that actually we have so much control and power over how we age with our lifestyle factors. So in terms of her sort of lifestyle, she does strength training regularly. She does Pilates regularly. She's fully engaged. She's got an amazing community. So she golfs. She goes to sort of like church every Sunday. She's got full community around her. And she eats really well. She's really conscious of what she eats. She's a prime example of actually, it's not about the numbers. I think one of the things that I've found over the last few years, and I always say my clinic's like an echo chamber of how women are made to feel, is we have such absurd notions over the aging process and what we can and can't do as we age, where actually it doesn't matter about the age you are, because, you know, you've got a control over how well you age. And the reframe for me is about trying to get women to understand that it's not about looking young, it's about looking healthy. And when you've got strong, resilient, glowing skin, that's what it's about. And it's not about, I don't get clients coming in saying, I want to look 20 years younger, because that's just absurd. You know, I think a lot of people just want to look the best they can at whatever age they can. And why can't you do that at 96?
And also regaining that confidence. I think confidence is a big thing that we lose as we go from our 40s into kind of the later stages of our lives. And that is a big thing for women.
It's a huge thing with hormonal shifts when you're going through perimenopause and menopause. With the big shifts in the hormones, particularly hormones like progesterone, you've got hormone receptors in your brain, which are progesterone receptors. And when we think about all the hormones, you know, they do affect our mood and our confidence and how we feel about ourselves. And a lot of women, when they do go through midlife, do get anxiety or anxious or don't feel like themselves anymore. So it's about addressing that, and it's a normal process obviously to go through the aging process, but realizing that you can get ahead of it and actually you can control how well you age with the things that you know, when you understand your body, and particularly for women, have an agency over your aging process and what happens. I think it's really inspiring and empowering. And yeah, there's just so many exciting things that are out there, which doesn't necessarily have to cost a lot of money.
No, absolutely. I mean, the 96-year-old woman, I would love to meet her.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to do a whole episode on her because she's just incredible. And I just think it just proves that no matter your age, I mean, her skin, I mean, she looks 20 years younger. She looks after her skin. She's always been good with her sun protection. And I've got clients who are a lot younger but have used, you know, sunbeds and, you know, are sun worshippers. And you can just see the difference.
And when people come into Kiehls, I think with those skin changes and getting later in life, I do think a lot of people now, and friends of mine, have said, oh, as I'm getting older, my skin's gone really sensitive. But there is a bit of a difference, isn't there? There's sensitive and sensitized. That's something I'm hearing a lot. And I'm thinking, do you really have sensitive skin?
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting conversation at the moment. And at Kiehls, we're seeing a lot of customers that come in and they'll say, Calum, oh, my skin is so sensitive. And they're using the word sensitive to describe their skin. But actually, the word sensitive is an umbrella term that encompasses many different attributes of how our skin can look or feel. Sensitive skin is often skin that you're born with and actually part of how your skin is built. And you will deal with sensitive skin throughout your life. And it can peak and fall at times, where sensitized skin could be, for example, my skin is quite neutral, it's quite balanced. And I walk my dogs every morning. It's something that I enjoy. It's great to see them running around. It's good for my mental health. But in the springtime, when the daffs and the tulips start to join us, my hay fever might spike. And then around sort of my T-zone area feels a little prickly and often can appear a little bit red. So therefore, my skin has become sensitized. Or, for example, Michelle, I might say, actually, Michelle, Dr. Lubna, why don't we all come back to London with me and we'll have a weekend out? But spending time in the underground where that pollution is heavily congested, my neutral skin may become a little bit red, a little prickly, a little hot, but that's because the pollution is making it sensitized. So my skin isn't sensitive. So understanding what has changed your skin, it could be a long flight, it could be hay fever, or actually it could be the overuse of products, over-exfoliating, overuse of acids that are so easily accessible on the market, or not using, again, SPF. If you're not protecting your skin, even artificial lighting may be causing damage and it may be causing the skin to become sensitized. So that's really the key difference. Have you always had this skin? Has it always been sensitive? Or have you noticed a change in a product you've purchased and bought that you're using incorrectly? Maybe a change in climate, temperature, atmosphere, or has something caused your skin to become sensitized? And that could also be lack of sleep, stress, you know, even stress for something positive. If you're planning your wedding, which is going to be the best day of your life, and I hope it's the most magical day for you, but planning a wedding is stressful. So even stress through positive circumstances can make your skin sensitized to that moment in time.
I'm going to pass that on to my friends, but it makes sense when you put it like that. Now, you've got an interesting story about a set of twins that differed. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know you are a longevity specialist and you really go into kind of like the science and the research behind people.
Yeah, so a lot of the longevity science that we sort of like understand now comes from a lot of things like twin studies. So there's some really interesting twin studies that show the difference in aging. So there's a thing called epigenetics. So we're all born with our little pamphlet, as in our manual understanding who Calum is, understanding who Michelle is. So it's your DNA. But we know in longevity science that there's something called epigenetics. So it's how your genes are turned on and off. And it's all dictated by your lifestyle. So we say that the gun might be loaded for example, something like diabetes, but how you live your life can dictate whether that gene gets turned on or off. So in terms of twin studies, there's some prime examples of twins where one twin might have smoked her whole life, might have had loads of UV exposure, sunbeds, eaten a lot of processed foods. And then the other twin has an opposite lifestyle where doesn't smoke, doesn't have excess UV exposure. And they look biologically different ages, even though they're identical twins. It's similar to what I was saying with my 96-year-old patient who her skin looks 20 years younger, and there's clients who are younger than her who look older than her. So our aging actually is dictated so much by our lifestyle choices. So when you eat well, when you sleep well, when you're moving your body, when you're managing your stress, all those things actually dictate the pace of how we age and our genes and how well we age in the future. So it's really fascinating. But the twin studies have taught us so much.
That's really interesting, all those effects coming together. And say you were the twin who hadn't had the better lifestyle.
Yeah.
Are there any treatments out there that you would recommend that are the best to kind of reverse that? We're always talking about the reverse, but I mean, there's lots of products out there, but what's one treatment that you would say that's what we should be doing?
Absolutely. I think first thing to say, it's never too late to make lifestyle changes. So many studies show that there's a study recently where they took people who were in their 90s in a nursing home and gave them strength training exercises, and it lowered their biological age, which is just amazing. So it's never too late to make changes. It depends. If we're talking about like the sun damage and the pigmentation, then of course in clinic there's things like lasers that we can use, IPL, ablative lasers, there's various things. In terms of sort of like using all the modalities in terms of longevity, there's things like red light therapy, there's contrast therapies. So there's some amazing technology and tools, but I think it's always about getting the foundations right first.
Have you tried red light therapy? I haven't tried that yet.
No, not yet, but I'm
Keep seeing
very
everybody
tempted.
with the masks and things like that. Red light therapy, though, can be the full body.
Yeah. So we have at Grantley Hall, we have a red light bed. And red light is amazing in terms of what it can do. So it's a particular wavelength. When you think about the spectrum of light, red light is a particular wavelength, and it has amazing capacity in terms of so when you're looking at your skin cells and your cells around your body, they have a little battery pack, which is your mitochondria. So you will hear this in the future because mitochondrial health is becoming something really, really relevant in terms of aging and longevity. So you have little battery packs, and as you age, your mitochondria decline in terms of like their energy capacity. That's why we start to get a bit tired when we're older if we're not looking after our mitochondrial health. So red light, the mitochondria absorb the red light, and your mitochondria are responsible for your fibroblast producing collagen and for all the other sort of like metabolic processes happening in the body. So it's amazing. So red light is anti-inflammatory. It's really good for your mental health. So it can really give you a boost. It's like getting all the good points from the sun, but without all the negative, harmful energy. Supplements are always really interesting because people come to me with all kinds of, I had somebody recently brought in like a bag load of supplements that they're taking. So I always like to refine it down. So, the demographic that I tend to treat are women in midlife. So I think it's about understanding from a physiological point of view and biologically what's happening to us as we age. And for women in particular, with the decline in hormones, we have hormone receptors all over our body, in particular like when you think about estrogen. We have to think about, so as women, we have to think about our hearts, our bones, our brains, and then our metabolism and the rest of our body. So the key supplements, I think majority of people do really well with vitamin D. So vitamin D is essential when you're thinking about your bones and bone protection. Then when you think about your heart, those oily fishes, so omega-3 is really important as a supplement, and then supplementing that in terms of your diet as well with oily fish. When you're thinking about your brain, creatine, so much new evidence has shown how beneficial creatine is in terms of your brain vitality. And then creatine, yes.
That sounds strange because I have only heard of creatine when my husband has been to the gym and taken that. You know, it feels like a male thing. I don't know what you think about that.
I'd only come across creatine really in the introduction to marathon running for fitness, muscle sort of recovery.
Yeah.
But actually,
I'd actually think about bodybuilders.
yeah,
as well.
bodybuilding.
Yeah,
That's why. So a lot of people think it's for the gym bros and for bulking up, but for women, it's really beneficial. And when you think about what's happening to women during the aging process, so you are losing bone, so you get the risk of osteoporosis, and sarcopenia, so the loss of muscle. So actually your creatine can help with that in terms of women preserving your muscle mass, but also your brain as well. So it's really beneficial. And then thinking about things like protein, so protein in your diet, but if you're not getting enough, then protein powders can be really beneficial as well. And again, that helps with the collagen side of things. And then thinking about your gut health, so fibre, I mean, we all lack fibre, so getting enough in your diet, and if you don't get enough, then some fibre supplementation is really good as well. And then the final piece of the puzzle in terms of, I mean, HRT, so hormone replacement, isn't necessarily a supplement, but when you're thinking about everything fitting together in the jigsaw piece, hormone replacement is something that is really worth talking to your doctor about. It's a very personal decision, and I'm not saying it's for everybody, but you know, if you're lacking the vital hormones that you need for brain capacity, for your function of your body, then it's something to consider as well.
That's brilliant advice. And definitely the creatine has really opened my eyes to a different perception of it. I'm going to ask you about products. So if we had 5 minutes in the morning, very busy woman, we're all busy all the time. What would you, apart from, I'm not letting you say SPF, because we know the SPF, what other thing would you kind of go, right, got to put it?
This, again, key part of our conversation today for skincare, and lots of women out there are very busy. We have lots of mums as well that have got to get the kids to school and don't want a 10 or 12-step skincare routine. And it's also not necessary unless you love it. So 5 minutes in the morning, I think it's really important to use a good cleanser. Let's wash our face, get rid of everything that's happened overnight as our circadian rhythm has started to kick in. So first step always is wash the face, and not with a solid soap bar. Please use a cleanser that suits your skin. And then I actually think your serum is your powerhouse. So whatever your main skincare concern is, choose the correct serum. So let's cleanse. Let's use a nice serum to travel further through the epidermis and tackle your main skincare concern. A good moisturizer. And I'm sorry, Michelle, but I have to say it. And then let's finish off with an SPF. And I think for skincare products, as a lovely skincare essentials routine, you could wrap up in 2 to 3 minutes.
Well, should we go and see some products? Because talking of science, I do know that you have a derma reader at Kiehls, and I want to go. Is that all right?
I think it's time we put you through the derma reader deep skin analysis. Let's go.
Style Arcades, your gateway to luxury style. Subscribe for insights from the world's most coveted brands and be the first to be notified on new episodes. Subscribe today.
Calum, I can't believe how quick that was, and you get the results instantly. Tell me about my skin.
Right, well, let's dive straight in. I always like to start off with a huge celebration, and here, Michelle, your skin is currently very happy. We talk a lot about the skin barrier in Kiehls, and yours is showing optimal health. Your skin layers are growing in the right direction, in the right order, and that barrier is nice and tight, which is what I like to see.
Fab.
What needs a little bit of TLC is we need to do better with drinking our water, maybe a little bit better, but a good night's sleep. Our hydration is a little bit low, especially for this time of the day. So we could work on keeping our skin a little bit further hydrated. Does that sound about right?
It does. I do need to up my water intake, maybe stop drinking a lot of coffee that, takes that hydration away. But I do use hyaluronic acid. Is that how you say it? I always get confused with how you say that.
Almost hyaluronic acid.
That's the one.
Yes. That is a great hydrating product. Now, hyaluronic acid holds 1,000 times its weight in water, but it'll only hold that weight in water when the water's there. So we could look at some different products to hydrate the skin first, because sometimes hyaluronic acid, if the skin isn't hydrated, what has it got to hold on to?
That's really interesting, because you just hear those products for hydration and you think they're instantly going to work. I suppose that's why personalisation like this is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. You ready to take a closer look?
Come on.
So let's break down your analysis a little bit further. You've got some fantastic results. We can see on the screen there's lots of green. Green is happy. This is where the skin is content. And we want everything to reach 100% of your skin's optimal health.
Oh, well, that's good.
All these high results.
Because the first thing I saw was eye bag, and it said 93%, and I was just about to go, oh, my eyes, are they just baggy all over? So that's a good thing. I'm doing something right. If it was red, I was wrong.
Yes, exactly. So according to our Dermarita Deep Skin Analysis today, the only attribute of the skin that needs the highest amount of attention would be actually a little bit of clogged pores. So for someone like yourself who loves to play with our makeup, has always got your hair done really well, actually we could talk a little bit about exfoliation and how are we removing that makeup? How are we exfoliating the skin on an evening? Or particularly, what retinol are we using?
Well, just look at this face. Exfoliation isn't my strong bit, so it is amazing that it has picked up that. I use a toner, I use a cleanser, I use a moisturiser, but I do a lot of fake tanning. I know. And I always think if I exfoliate, then all my tan's going to come off, you know, and then I have to redo it. So that's why, Calum, I'm being completely honest here with everyone. But really, I should, because it's very important, right?
Yeah.
But how strong of an exfoliator? I think that's another thing that scares me.
Well, let's have a look and see if I can shine some light on this. So this is, actually, let's zoom out. What I can see is exactly as you've explained. This probably is product that's trapped within the pores, because when we have a little look through our analysis photographs, we can see it is quite heavily congested. So for someone like yourself that enjoys to have that tan, what it could be is in between applications, maybe it's time to go into an exfoliation. And there's lots of options. You could do something like a solidifying clay mask. We could use a granular exfoliation, or even a retinol will help with resurfacing. Now, retinol's not an exfoliating scrub, but it will help with resurface. So it's all really your preference. Some people like that scrubby feeling. I particularly quite enjoy a face mask. Sit on the sofa, watch an episode of something on Netflix and just let that face mask dry, absorb and remove those dead skin cells and remove any congested particles that are trapped within the pores.
That's definitely a bit of me. So I think I will be doing that from now on. That looks quite scary.
Yeah, the pictures are a bit of an eye-opener, aren't they?
Now, this interests me particularly because you've done it in black and white and we've got these blue bits in these areas. What do these mean?
Right, so what we're looking at here on our screen, and we can even change it onto different profiles, what we're looking at, which is highlighted in this blue area, is we're actually looking at signs of UV damage. Now, these sometimes are not visible to the eye and they're lurking underneath the skin. And again, for customers that come in for a Dermarita Deep Skin Analysis that have their makeup on, we're actually covering up because makeup gives full coverage. So this is actually what's happening in the epidermis section of the skin, which is sort of the top layer of the skin. And this is UV damage from sunshine, from UVB and UVA, or also can be caused from artificial lighting. And this is where here, when I go through any education point, or if you step into a Kiehls store, we always stress the importance of a good SPF.
Well, yes, I know that you have got one that's out. It's flying out of the shelves. Yeah. We need to try that one. Is that a better UV, is it called?
The Better Screen UV Serum, yes. So it's an SPF 50 with a PA4+ grading. So it's broad spectrum, protects you from UVB, which burns the skin, and UVA, which you cannot feel on the skin. So that's the silent assassin.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So I think it's time we try some products. Would you agree?
I think so. Take me to them. Well, I've got to say, it was great getting those results from the Derma Reader. Is that Derma Reader available to everybody who walks into Kiehls?
Absolutely, Michelle. Yeah, it's a complimentary service and we can offer that as long as the store is open. It's available for everyone.
I mean, the technology now is incredible. Is that AI that generates those kind of personalisation answers?
This is a great question, and I actually think lots of our customers think we use AI. Artificial intelligence is coming a long way, but the Derma Reader Deep Skin Analysis isn't AI, it's tri-flash technology. So what that means is the photograph is quite bright. We use standard photography lighting, Polaroid photography lighting, and infrared photography lighting combined into one photograph. So therefore, it does read into the very surface layers of the skin, but it's not strong enough to penetrate right down into, say, the epidermis or the dermis. I think the future of Kiehls, we may develop more AI technology, but at the moment, when you're coming into a Kiehls boutique, yes, the photography is working and giving you a factual image, but the Kiehls Skin Pro is helping you with their education of that machine. So you're actually getting knowledge from another human. We're not letting the machine do the work.
Well, let's have a look at what I need. Now, let's first start with the SPF, because I do think that is very important to everybody, right?
Yeah, the crown of any skincare routine. So the SPF, Michelle, for you was the Better Screen UV Serum. This is broad spectrum UVA and UVB protection. This is actually a new formula for Kiehls, and it's absolutely wonderful. And I actually think this one has done so well. We're currently sold out here in the Leeds boutique, so I'm really lucky you still are going to get to try it today. This one leaves an invisible yet dewy, healthy finish on the skin. So for any customer that walks through our door, whether their skin tone is quite fair like myself, or if they have a richer skin tone, this isn't going to leave sort of that grey or white cast, no matter the tone of the skin, which I think is a formula that's actually suitable for everybody. And that's really unique, because as we know, lots of people shy away from SPF, thinking that their makeup might pill on top of it, or that it might leave a bit of a colour or a casting. So actually, Kiehls is inclusive to any customer, no matter their skin tone. Would you like to try a little bit on the back of your hand?
I would, and it's funny that you said that about the pilling. That is something that I have experienced, and I always wonder what I'm doing wrong. Is it the product? Is it how long it's on my face? What's the solution?
So pilling can happen, and actually we should always let our skincare absorb into the skin, and especially when we are applying our SPF, we need to make sure that we're applying the correct amount and also giving that SPF 10, 15, 20 minutes max to absorb and settle onto the skin before we apply our makeup. If you are someone that's quite quick on a morning, that puts all their skincare routine on and then just puts their makeup straight on, the skincare and the makeup aren't settling, and what can happen is during the day that makeup can break or it can pill because it's rolling on top of a solution that hasn't had time to sit on the skin.
That is where I'm going wrong, Lubna. I definitely am going wrong. Before or after your moisturiser then, do you put the SPF on?
Always after. SPF is the final step. We call it the crown of your skincare routine, because that is creating a lovely protective barrier. So really, that is the last thing that needs to go on. And then for our makeup wearers, then you would put your primer and then continue on with the rest of your makeup routine. How does it feel?
It feels great, honestly, and it has got a definite sheen to it, and we're all after the glow. We are right now, Lubna. In terms of this is Yorkshire Beauty in the community, do you find a lot of women do kind of have that thing about the products and not knowing which one to use when, and also getting a bit bombarded by them all?
Absolutely. So we set up This is Yorkshire Beauty to create a community for like-minded women who enjoy skincare, enjoy beauty, and want to know more about healthcare. And, you know, it's just the confusion over when to use products, what products I need to use, and the whole thing around having to spend a lot of money in order to get good skincare. So we like to sort of like be expert-led, break through through all the noise, and help women to like enjoy beauty, take the stress out of it and make it an enjoyable sort of like community experience, but also highlight that actually skincare, you don't need to have a 10-step routine. It can be really simple, and you know, you can get a lot of return on your investment by choosing the right products at the right time.
I love that sense of community as well, like women passing it on to each other. And you've got a great thing coming up. You've got the British Beauty Week. That's a big event, you know. Tell us a little bit about that, and have you got any things that you can share or tease us for this year?
Oh, let's see. So we're really proud to have brought British Beauty Week to Yorkshire. So prior to 2023, it didn't exist in Yorkshire. So we've brought it to Yorkshire to highlight all the amazing brands, people and venues. So we hold it at Grantley Hall, which is the luxury 5-star hotel in Yorkshire. And I'm really lucky to have a clinic based there. And so the idea is to have a whole day celebrating health, beauty and longevity. We have expert speakers, we have an amazing beauty market hall where brands get to show off their services and products. And then we do all the experientials. So last year, all the guests got to try out the cryotherapy chamber, the red light bed. We had workshops. So we had like all kinds of things. So it was a brilliant, like all day experience. This year, we've got an amazing schedule lined up, and I can't say too much. We've got an amazing headline speaker. We've got some amazing brands that we're partnering with. And we've also got Lexus coming to do. They're bringing their fleet of electric cars, because this year the theme is about impact. So we're really sort of keen on pushing sustainability. So it's amazing to hear what Calum was saying about the clay mask and like the impact that has. So, you know, beauty being a force for good. So, and we've got a whole community based around this as Yorkshire Beauty. So it's called the Betty Club. And it's about connection, because a big part of longevity and about feeling good is about connecting and having your tribe of women and your friends around you. So it's so it's all about connection and community.
Definitely a tribe of cheerleaders and beauty cheerleaders as well.
So it's the 25th of October. So everyone mark their calendar.
Right out of my mouth. I was like, when can we see that? And you've got some exciting news for Kiehls coming up as well at this very place.
Yes, so here in Leeds on the 13th of June, which is a Saturday, the team here in the Leeds boutique is going to be in the Victoria Gate, and we're going to take over just outside of John Lewis, where the cafes are, right inside, and you can come and see the team, experience some of the products. You'll also have an opportunity to get a complimentary skin analysis done with a handheld version of the Dermarida Deep Skin Analysis, and it's instant, it's on the spot. You can look at your skin in depth, and if you wanted more and you wanted the full consultation, the team there will be able to book you in to come back to store when you have a little bit more time. But the handheld device, the Skin Snap, it's fantastic, and it takes 30 seconds.
Well, I know it did take a quick time for myself. We've got more products to get through, but we will do that off camera, because I've got so much that I want to pick from Calum's brain about. But we are coming to the end of our podcast, and we always like to finish our podcast with some quick fire questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
We're ready.
Okay, Calum, I'm going to go to you first. Facial or massage?
Facial, always.
Yeah, I thought so. Look at that glowing skin. Gym session, Lubna, or long walk?
Gym session.
Oh, well, I should have imagined strength training.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Plan everything, Calum, or go with the flow?
Oh, I can't answer. I'm a Gemini, so I plan everything, and then I detour from the plan. Then I come back, and then my plan changes, and then I forget the original plan, so I can't answer that one.
I'll let you off. Cold plunge or hot bath?
Cold plunge, definitely.
Ooh, that is really good for you, isn't it?
is,
I did some cold water therapy recently, and I enjoyed it after the initial shock, Calum.
You're braver than me, ladies. Braver than me. I won't be doing that.
Prevention or correction, Calum?
Prevention.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Lubna, supplements or whole foods?
Whole foods to begin with, and supplements where you need them. But you need to test before you know. People have like millions of supplements, and sometimes, you know, they can counteract each other. So I think it's about knowing what your body needs. So, yeah.
Great advice, and great to chat to both of you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you as well for listening and watching, however you digested Style Arcades. That's it for today's podcast. But don't forget, we are on Amazon, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube. So if you have missed any of our earlier episodes, you can catch them right there. Until next time though, follow us on Instagram at Style Arcades Podcast for the latest news. And of course, stay stylish.